Good Monday, CollabCoats! First off, Chelsea, my stats book is so much prettier than yours. So this week we will be sharing a story about how we became Nerdfighters. But first I'd like to take a moment to mention that Charlie will no longer be making Tuesday videos. We're sad to see you go, Charlie. Best wishes in the future. So honestly, even though it was my idea, my Nerdfighter origin story is kind of boring. I've basically been a nerd all my life, but I've never really identified as one. At least not as strongly as I do now. I think it kind of goes back to the age-old question of nature versus nurture. I think nerdiness is a basic part of my nature and I just can't fight that. On the other hand, my dad is a huge nerd, so that probably influenced it as well. Anyways, 3 or so years ago, my friends introduced me to the wonderful YouTube vloggers. Before this, I was under the impression that YouTube was just cat videos. And one of them was the Vlog Brothers. And I was just like, yeah, this fits. This feels right. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, kinda boring. So, for your enjoyment, I proudly present the fictitious tale of how I became a Nerdfighter. Always eager for adventure, one day I decided to sail around the world. I bought the most beautiful sailboat in the world and soon was stocked with all the food and equipment I would need for a trip around the world. And so I set off, alone. The first day out, of course, I ran into the most vicious storm ever. Wave after wave pounded down on my head as rain poured down from above. It was all I could do just to hang on. After what felt like years, morning came. That first crack of sun on the horizon was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I got up and took stock of my situation. The bottom of the boat had a couple of inches of water. My sail was completely gone. What was left of my food was ruined. And my navigational equipment was either gone or malfunctioning. So I was set adrift. What could I do? I spent most of my time trying to sleep. But I was usually in this weird in-between place. Not quite awake, not quite asleep. Then one day I had this dream. I just got up out of my boat and started walking across the water. And then someone started yelling at me. Like, hey, hello, are you okay? And then I woke up with a start, only to realize someone was calling to me. I looked up over the edge of my sailboat and sure enough there was a large fishing boat. There was a man who didn't really seem suited to the nautical life, hanging over the bow shouting at me. In no time I was eating a warm meal aboard his ship. We swapped stories, and I discovered that this man was no other than John Green. Of course, I didn't really understand the significance of that at the time. Being far off from anywhere else, John offered to take me back to his homeland, Nerdfighter Island. Since I was on an adventure, I was game. But John did tell me that if I found life there disagreeable, I could find transport off easily enough. Furthermore, if I wanted, I could find people to help me fix my boat. At this point, I didn't know what to expect. I was scared and nervous and excited all at the same time. When I got there, I couldn't believe my eyes. This place was amazing. There was a pretty well-developed city, and there was people everywhere. Some walking, some biking. There were some dressed in interesting costumes. Some were singing and dancing. There was even a group jumping around on pogo sticks. Nearby there was a farm where they were growing, believe it or not, party blowers. There was all sorts of clubs and societies dedicated to academic pursuits, nerdy interests, and decreasing world suck. Needless to say, I loved it there, and I haven't left since. So I hope you liked my story. And I will see you next Monday. Bye!